Hello, this is Corbin Howard. I made the motion on Friday to request that the Child and Family Law section help with some funding for the Billings Self-Help Center. And I wanted to provide just a little bit of further explanation for my motion. And I hope that after listening to this video and perhaps reading my email, all of you will agree. The Self-Help Center is part of a pilot project funded through the Montana Supreme Court. There's a self-help center in Billings and there's one in Kalispell. And those centers are basically run by a paralegal who, with some volunteers, helps people find forms, fill out forms, find their way to the courthouse, find their way to the right clerk's office to perform simple legal tasks without an attorney. There's a lot of people trying to do things for themselves these days, and particularly with our economic circumstances, I think the number of pro ses is growing. That creates problems, of course, for the courts and the clerks because they're inundated with questions, improperly filled out forms, and so forth. And they can spend a lot of time. A judge can spend a lot of time on the bench trying to help some individual who has not filled out the right form or filled out the forms incorrectly to correct their problem and move through the system, even to do simple tasks. So the self-help centers perform a valuable service not only for the individuals they serve, but also they help our system work better. So I think it's worthwhile continuing to support these entities. And they are pilot projects, so we're kind of feeling our way, learning what works and what doesn't work, so that we can better serve the public. The immediate problem is that the funding grant took advantage of the fact that we had free space available in Billings. The courthouse had a small office that the self-help center could use, and so they've been occupying that space until very recently. So that the money that was appropriated was solely devoted to paying the cost of the salary and benefits for our paralegal and providing some equipment and so forth. So there's no money for rent. Well, the last legislature funded an additional district judge position in Billings, and now that we're making plans for offices in the courthouse for that judge and a small courtroom for that judge, the self-help center is being squeezed out. There's simply no space to do both, put together an office for the new district judge and to allow the self-help center to continue to occupy space in the courthouse. So they've had to move. They've had to move to our Billings Parley Library. Well, the Parley Library charges rent, and there's no money in the budget for rent. The city and the county here have combined to pay part of that rent, and the rent for sure is paid through November and maybe partly for December. It depends upon when the construction of the new judicial offices are finished. But in any case, we need 7 months' rent to continue the operation of the Self-Help Center through the end of the biennium. And there's really no simple way to get it done. It's not a lot of money, and we have $22,000 sitting in our bank account in Helena available for us to spend. 60% of the people who use this service in Billings use it for family law related purposes. That is, 60% of the individuals we serve have family law issues. The rest, there's a smattering of this and a smattering of that, but by far the majority of the requests we get for help are on family law matters. So I think it's a worthwhile program. It serves our judicial system well. It serves our community well. It has directly to do with family law, and I'd urge that you vote for appropriating this money, which is $3,693.69, which will carry the program through the end of the biennium, which is June 30, 2011, at which point I hope that we have more solid and permanent funding for this fine program. Thanks for listening.